Right, welcome back. Let's look at this program now, Reshaping the Country's Rural Economy, the Smallholder Agricultural Productivity Enhancement and Marketing Project. Well, it is driving climate resilient production, opening markets for smallholder farmers and laying down the institutional architecture that is needed to secure long-term sustainable growth in the sector. And of course, to take us inside the engine room of this national transformation, we're joined in the studio by the man at the helm, Mr. Robert Mabunza, the project manager, as well as the lead architect behind its implementation on the ground. Mr. Mabunza, welcome to the program. Maybe let's get into the impacts as well as all the other dynamics, but I do want to start by greeting you and welcoming you to the program. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing all right. I mean, you've shortened it and you've called it SAPEMP. Yes. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Why is it important now for Eswatini?
Okay, thank you. SAPEMP is a project under the Ministry of Agriculture, which is spearheaded by government, of course. Basically, this project is here to address critical challenges that are faced by our smallholder farmers in the country. These include, access to markets, production, productivity, access to finance. So this project is here to unlock certain barriers or challenges that are forced by our farmers.
Yeah.
Indeed, when you look at the agriculture value chain, especially the legumes and horticulture that are supported by the project, there are massive challenges along the chain of production from farm to the market. So this project is here to assist our farmers to be able to produce a quality product and also to ensure that as they produce, they also reach the quantities that are required by the market and also consistent supply. Mostly our farmers, smallholder farmers, are faced with challenges where our production is fluctuating. They are able to produce in winter but not in summer. Whereas the market on the other side, they want this consistent supply of this produce to the market. So SAPEMP is here to address the market challenges, the production challenges, and of course the access to finance challenges, mostly faced by our women farmers, youth farmers in the country.
Yeah, and we will get into the numbers, as it were, the ones that you're speaking about in terms of we see the inclusive approach to it, particularly the focus around women and the youth. But I think what I'm getting is that the gist of it all is you saw a gap in the market where the demand, the supply doesn't necessarily meet the demand of the market. But I think what is really compelling about it is the scale of this project. We are talking an 8-year project here, 851 million emalangeni that is funded. And the numbers that you have here, you're aiming to reach 19,600 households in the Kingdom of Eswatini. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes, thank you. You are right. When you look at the national scale of this project, we're looking at, reaching all 4 regions of the country. Yeah. And also we are looking at, reaching at least 40% of the 19,600 households to be women. And again on that, we're also targeting at least 30% of those to be youth. So what we have done so far, when you look at the geographic landscape of the country, we have the 4 regions, 59 Tingodla. So our approach is that in each of these Tingodla, at least we should have farmers that are actively involved in agricultural production so that we are able to reach the project goal and objective. So we have the desire to reach every Swat in the country, to effectively participate in agricultural production, especially when we talk of horticulture, mainly vegetables, and legumes, mainly the sugar beans and also the bean seed. Yeah. So basically we see these 2 value chains as a drive for upskilling or upscaling agricultural production in the country. And again, this is where we've seen massive participation of our smallholder farmers in these commodities. So there is a chance that if this project does well, a lot of Eswatini, they will going to benefit and their livelihoods at the end they will change.
And that a lot of Eswatini you are referring to, I love that, it's quantified in numbers here. And that is, of course, we've spoken about 19,600 households, but that is almost equivalent to what you call 117,700 people.
Yeah.
And of course, you do say the strong focus is 40% women, 30% youth, and 5% vulnerable groups. So no one is going to be marginalized here. But I think another big conversation here should be around what it's going to remedy within the job crisis that we have in the Kingdom of Eswatini. You project creating at least 7,500 jobs.
Yes, of course, you are right. On that one, when you look at, at farm level, and then up the value chain, up to the retail or market side,
right,
we see that the project can make a huge impact in terms of employment creation in the country for our men, women, and youth, even people living with disabilities.
Yes.
So it's not that we are just saying SAPEMP will focus, on the general labor, jobs where you talk of weeding, spraying. But here we're looking at the spectrum across, the value chain, from production, logistics, marketing, access to finance, agro-processing, input supply. So these are critical areas in production where once we start running, we will see a lot of people getting employment opportunities. And having 7,000 people employed, it's a huge number that we believe that the project will be contributing massively into the employment spectrum in the country, specifically for our youth people.
Important.
That's where we think they've been sidelined in terms of, employment opportunities in the agriculture space, because all along we've been talking about, on-farm jobs. But here we see that there are opportunities and interest of our youth if we bring innovation, technology into this agriculture space. So we are pushing, and hopefully that the youth beneficiaries will have the appetite to actively participate in this project.
You're absolutely right. And, we always look at the numbers and we wonder where all these young people will be employed when we look at Luyengo and the number of graduates that they have every year. And it's just the fact that we are a young population as the Kingdom of Eswatini. We really need the young people to be absorbed into jobs. And if they are not, we know the risks of all of that. So I think that is really commendable what you are referring to. I like this three-component structure of this project. You speak increased production and resilience, enhanced market access and income, but I think stronger institutional support is also just as critical, that component that you have there. Can you speak to these?
Okay, thank you. I will start with the first component. The first component talks to improving production and productivity of the supported value chains. I mentioned that the value chains that are supported by the project, the vegetables mainly, which is horticulture, and then legumes, mainly the sugar beans. And the selection of these commodities, I can give you comfort that thorough research was done and consultations with the Ministry of Agriculture, where, just to confirm the priority commodities in the country. So government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, have done a thorough job with support from FAO, just to, to have commodities that can be prioritized in the agriculture space. So the project is just, prioritized and aligned on that priority list of the communities. Of the commodities. And secondly, the markets in the country were also, consulted in terms of, where there is demand, where we have huge imports, which commodities are there. So again, we have a top 5, priority list that was given by NAMPOD, just to give us where we think the project can add value in terms of import substitution. So now, what we need to do now is to, take 1 or 2 steps back to see how can we start, where can we start as a project from the farm? Where are the challenges? And mostly the challenges that we've faced, we've analyzed so far, has been issues of, land, issues of production inputs, issues of irrigation infrastructure.
Important.
So the project is here to bring, support services that will ensure that we provide support to farmers just to ensure that their production is sufficient, they have the quality that is required, and also the issue of consistent supply. So this project is here to also support against the climate shocks. We know that, the vegetables, legumes are prone to hail, to storms, drought. So the issue of irrigation water is very, very important to ensure that we're improving production. So component one, basically, I will say it talks to production improvement. Then component two, now that's where we talk of market and access to finance. Now we're saying production is there, everything is in place, but farmers still, they are struggling with markets.
Yes.
So our approach here is that, yes, we have the conventional markets in the country, NAMPOD for horticulture, NMC for legumes, but we think we can add value in terms of bringing in private sector players into the market structure of the country. Normally, we make an example with our sugarcane industry. We have private players there. When you look at Malkans, RFGs there, private players. Now we have Nisela down. These are private players. And when you look at the value chains that they are supporting, they are successful.
Right.
So our approach is that as we have the conventional markets, let us also bring in these guys, the private sector, so that they are able also to invest into this agricultural space. So under component two, we think we are going to hit it right. And last week on Thursday, we also invited, the private players down there, Eswatini, and they expressed their aspirations, their appetite to work with smallholder farmers. So for us, it's just to provide an enabling environment so that the private sector players can participate effectively in agricultural development. Then the last one, which is institutional strengthening and capacity. Basically there, we are saying, when you look at the project, it's national in scope. So when you look at the size of the PMU, and then the outreach that is required, the 19,600, it's very difficult. So we need then to build capacity of our institutions, the Ministry of Agriculture, MTAT, DPMOs, all these critical value chain players, NAMPOD, NMC, to be on board so that we work together. So some of them already have MOUs that we have signed. We'll be signing the second batch of MOUs so that we increase, the strength and capacity of the project to deliver. This also forms part of this exit strategy of the project. We have seen projects that will work in isolation. So when the project closes, ultimately everything collapses. So our desire is that we have these partners at the initial phase of the project so that as we'll be exiting, they are part of the process. So that's our approach when you talk of institutional strengthening, policy formation, and so on.
I love the fact that all three components address key constraints within, let's just say, the whole value chain of agriculture. But, under enhanced market and income, love the approach of co-opting the private sector into the ecosystem. But what about domestic, international markets?
Definitely. Our approach there is clear because we know that from a conventional, subsistence level, it would be very difficult to go out very difficult to, reach at export market because of maybe the standards that are required, the logistics, the branding, and so on. So our approach is that when we have these private players, private actors, already they have these linkages with export markets. Already they're exporting to Johannesburg market, Durban market. So it's easier then to leverage on their export channels. So this will allow our farmers to benefit through engagement of the private sector. So basically we're shortening the chain in that way.
let's talk about the beneficiaries now in a more broader sense.
Yeah.
But we did touch briefly when we just looked at the demographics with which you want this to permeate into. But I really want us to get into the type 1, the type 2, and the type 3, because you do have highly vulnerable farmers, you have partially market-oriented farmers, you also have commercially oriented farmers. Let's drill further into that.
Okay, thank you. During the project design, thorough, research was done, and then just looking the normal agriculture space, and then understanding the categories and the profiles of the farmers that are there. So when you look at the agriculture ecosystem, you will understand that basically there are three categories.
Okay.
There's the bottom part of the pyramid, which is the subsistence farmer, and then there are that category. That's where you find farmers that their main interest is just to have food in the table. Either there's a backyard garden or they buy, general. Exactly. You see, so that's category 1, the bottom part.
Right.
You see, and then the second part. That's where now you find this farmer is trying, producing, but it's not structured. Maybe the market is not there. This farmer, says maybe at farm gate, maybe at the normal, the closest, town market. So, but that farmer is trying.
Yes.
It now has experience, but maybe the market is not there. Maybe still, the land size is still, not sufficient to meet the market demand. Maybe irrigation-wise, it's not,
Yeah.
But the farmer is doing something, is able to get an income, Okay, then the third one, that's where now we are saying this farmer now is commercial, and this farmer now has a market.
Right.
Either it's Namport, NMC, or any retailer, fresh market. So you see now, this farmer is organized. This farmer now has a production calendar, have a spraying program, is able to get inputs, now it's market-led production,
Sure.
So we're saying with these 3 tiers, the project will find a way then to have specific interventions for each specific tier. And our desire is that we have a lot of farmers that are still at the subsistence part and the semi-commercial. So the project is expected to have a graduation model where we'll see these subsistence guys moving up.
Yeah.
Those that are meekly, they are going up. So that at the end of the project, year 8, our job is just to, it's just to twist this pyramid, and then now you'll have many commercial, oriented, medium, and then less subsistence. Then we'll say, okay, the project has hit the target.
Mr. Babunza, thank you for your time. Unfortunately, our time has run out, but quite a comprehensive project and ambitious, if I may say so myself. But I love the fact that it sounds very feasible, because it's one thing when projects they sound too ambitious, but you really try to listen to the structure and how feasible they are, and you start to doubt. But with this one, it seems like there's a lot of confidence around it, a lot of research that has been done. So all the best as you continue to implement.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Mr. Robert Mabunza, the project manager, an interesting project. We'll go for a net break now. We'll be back shortly.